Hello, Jamila here again to talk to you about beginning your job search. You might be wondering, how exactly do you get started in a job search? Where do you begin? Today I want to talk to you about a few tips and tricks you might use to fully engage your job search. The more you engage in your job search, the better your results will be. So today we're going to talk about what you should know about the job search, resources to use while job searching, adding the resources you plan to use to your goal sheet, diversifying your job search, and staying positive and motivated during your job search. So let's go ahead and get started. So these are a few tips and tricks you might use as you get started on your job search, as well as questions you can ask yourself along the way. I'm sure you've heard this before. Looking for a job should be treated as a full-time job. First of all, give yourself structure. Do you start your week with goal setting or a plan? They say you should begin with the end in mind. You might think about what all you plan to accomplish in your week. This is going to help ensure that you have a productive and successful week. Consider your peak work hours. If you happen to be a morning person, you might consider getting most of your work done in the morning. If you tend to be a night owl and tend to work longer hours in the night, consider shifting all of your work in that time. Do you work better midday or late morning? How about in the evening? Consider the time that you're most productive and that your work is the sharpest. That'll be the time to complete applications, to revise your resume, even write cover letters. Next, give yourself breaks between applications. Do some errands, take a walk, meet up with a friend that you can bounce ideas off of. You can crunch one application after the other, but you might run the risk of making errors because your brain does get tired after constant and consistent work. Give yourself a break and return back to the application process after you've done so. Avoid using just one mode of job search. Of course, you probably have your favorite job search engine, but consider using multiple job search engines, as any of them could be the next lead for your next job. You might consider using online applications, in-person meetings, hiring events. All of those things come together to make a really great set of job leads for you. Finally, read all instructions carefully. Avoid rushing through the process. Part of what happens in the job search process is that you get really passionate or anxious about submitting as many applications as possible. Avoid submitting applications quickly. Instead, spread your work out over time. This will give you an opportunity to refresh your brain, come back, and submit a great application. When it comes to the job search, half the battle is knowing what resources are available to you. You want to think about what you can use and how you can use it to fully engage the job search. Let's take a look at Workforce Solutions resources, for example. A few times a month, there might be a few hiring events or job fairs that are coming to your center or nearby. A hiring event essentially speeds up the process for both you and the employer. If that employer needs to hire quickly and you need to get hired quickly, everyone might benefit from this hiring event. Come dressed for success, resume in hand, and be ready to make a great first impression. You want to talk to workforce staff and find out what hiring events are coming up next. In addition to this, there is other assistance workforce staff can offer. We want to help you navigate the Work in Texas system, find job matches, and apply to jobs that are a good match for you. If there are additional services that you qualify for, you can also ask workforce staff to assist you with things like individualized career path planning, sponsorship for training, scholarships, transportation assistance, clothing assistance for work, work-based learning services, and child care assistance. Next, have you tapped into proofreaders? We want to take a look at your resume, applications, and cover letters and make sure your spelling, grammar, and punctuation are in top shape for the job you're applying for. Keep in mind that workshops and other computer-based training can make you competitive for your next job. Your friends and family also work as a good resource for you. While you might not have thought of them this way, your friends and family make up a powerful network of connections. Are any of them working in a place you might like to work? Might they have job leads that you haven't yet considered? Think about planning lunch, coffee, or an informal meeting to discuss what your next steps might be. There are also a few websites for networking. Facebook is often used for social purposes, but you might consider using it for professional purposes as you reach out to those who might be able to help you in your job search. LinkedIn works more specifically for professional connections. A no-cost LinkedIn profile might be the next step in making those connections. As you begin your job search, consider being active on job search engines like workintexas.com, Indeed, and more. But remember, job search engines aren't the only place for you to look for jobs. Most employers have their own business website, and navigating them is usually very simple. Head to the business page, locate the Careers or Employment tab, and follow their instructions on how to apply. Now that we've talked about the resources you want to use in your job search, let's find out what adding structure to your week might be like. Many people give themselves structure for their everyday life, but this is crucial in your job search too. Start the beginning of the week and think about what all you need to accomplish over the next 7 days. Of course, you don't have too much control over how many callbacks you receive, nor how many interviews you're invited to. But engaging the job search process is something you can commit to. Ask yourself these questions and use a blank planner to define when, where, and how you'll get certain tasks done. When will you work on your job search activities? That includes informal meetings, assistance with workintexas.com system, and attending workshops. Here, in the example, this person schedules those tasks pretty regularly. You might assume they're pretty active at their workforce center, mostly Mondays and Wednesdays. Next, what breaks do you give yourself? You will see a few blank spaces wherein this person is not job searching nor in meetings. They might be taking a walk, attending a community event, or spending time with family. Where on your schedule can you take time away from the job search? A moment ago, we talked about the different ways you can job search. Why don't you plug into your schedule the various ways you might do that? Likewise, think about the resources you'll use. Take a moment to schedule when, where, and how you plan to do each of those things. When you start getting those job leads, you want to think about how you're evaluating those jobs. Consider how you might target certain jobs. Not just the jobs you're looking for, but the jobs that will lead you toward the job you were looking for. For example, someone who is leaving a sales manager position might consider a number of different options. Occupational research conducted through jobseq.com in 2018 showed that a spread of occupations that person might consider include retail sales representative or a customer service representative, first-line supervisor of landscaping, lawn service, and groundskeeping, first-line supervisor in personal care, and supervisor for housekeeping and janitorial services. Again, not all these occupations directly align with the occupation that person is interested in, but might help that person gain skills as they work their way into or back into that preferred occupation. Take a moment to brainstorm what other jobs you might consider. How can you diversify your job search? The last part of our session will be an attitude assessment. Your answer to some of these questions might help you adjust your thoughts about the job search. Question 1. Do you stay motivated and positive in your job search? If yes, definitely keep it up. If not, what enriching things can you do outside of your job search? We've mentioned several times already the importance of giving yourself a break. So find something outside of the job search, like taking a walk. That way you're energized and ready for your next application, cover letter, or other job search activity. Just remember, in the words of Henry Ford, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. In this job search, your attitude determines everything. So today we've talked about what you should know about your job search, resources to use while job searching, adding the resources you plan to use to your goal sheet, diversifying your job search, and staying positive and motivated during your job search. That's all for today. Thank you so much for listening in, and I'm wishing you all the best in your job search.